Good morning and welcome back, or welcome, to Hootenanny Homestead. Let's head on up to the garden and pick some produce. This is about 9 a.m. So we have cucumbers here. These were planted, goodness, I want to say back in spring. Well, actually, when the temperatures got up above 50 or 60 is when we planted these. So I think that was about in May. And we made a little dome for them to crawl up on. And then, okay, these were planted about a month and a half later. And then those were planted about 2 weeks after these. So, let's go around here and do our thing. Now, these cucumber plants can get really thick, and I do highly recommend using a stick to separate the plants and look up under the leaves before reaching off in there and pulling. We got rattlesnakes, copperheads, moccasins. Though most of them won't hang around once they sense your presence. They don't want to be messed with, and they don't want to come across you either. So, you can see the stick in my hand that is used to look before I pull. Overall, we've had a good harvest off of them. We do have a few rabbits and rats that get up in here, and they'll take a bite, as you'll see right here. So we'll save this one for the turkeys. So now we jump over to the south side, and I always plant the cucumbers in an east-west direction, and I let them follow the sun. It's the way my grandmother always did it, so that's the way I like to do it. I've never had a good crop whenever I plant them north and south for some reason. And so some of those family traditions still live on out here. And these cucumbers, the type of them are called a straight 8 slicers. That's about the only kind I like to grow. We don't really make pickles. We're not really very good pickle makers. We also like to mulch out the bed with grass clippings. That really helps to control the water flow and keeps the ground moist and heats it up. Also kind of stops some of the weeds and grass from growing up. It still grows up, but it's easier to tend to. Just a little technique that we like to practice. It's just called chop and drop. If I need the mulch, I just set the lawnmower to a low setting and bag it up and bring it on up and dump it where it's needed. Really big one in there. And we still have about 2 or 3 more harvests off of them before they'll start turning bitter or sour. And but if I miss 1 or 2, that's okay. They just swell up even more with each watering. And we'll just catch them next time. That's 5 more. And I think that's about it. We got probably around 15 pounds off of this plant, or this picking. And some good sized ones. This is a strong grapevine basket. So let's head on up to the porch and empty this basket. We hung some shelves up here for produce. So I like to rotate everything. These are older. And we're going to come on in here and put the newer ones. So when we pull, we always pull from the left. And we know the ones on the right are older. So that way we're always First in, first out. Hey, there was some good sized ones. So this one was damaged. It'll go to the turkeys. I set that to the side. Alright. That's a crazy one. Alright. Let's head back out. Now we're going to head up to the bell pepper patch, but before we get up there, I'm just going to do a quick scan of everything that we got out here. We are heading right behind the okra and black-eyed peas. There's a patch of bell peppers that we're going to get to. Now we don't really have a problem with the turkeys getting up into the garden just yet. They don't know where the produce comes from. We'll be over here in a moment. This is the tomato bed. In this tomato bed we have about 80 plants, which is extremely thick. We got our watermelon patch right here. We picked one last night and it wasn't ripe yet. That's what we get for being eager. Here is our bell pepper patch. It's looking good. So back over here we have black-eyed peas, a patch here. Well, let me start up here. Here is a patch of black-eyed peas that we've started. We got 4 scratches in. And that's our blueberry bed over there. We've got bell peppers, black-eyed peas. Just behind those, we have 2 scratches of okra going north and south. And then behind those, we have purple hulls. And of course here, we have our loofahs that are taking over the pawpaw arbor. Under that, we have pawpaws. We got 4 pawpaw trees, along with our 2 pear trees right here. So just mosey on in here. And pick out our bell peppers. So these bell pepper plants are around 2 feet tall, and we pinch our blooms whenever they're smaller. They'll start setting on blooms, and we just go out and pinch them off. We let the plant get larger and thicker, because bell peppers can get fairly heavy, and they'll weigh down a plant, and the plant will focus on producing fruit instead of growing strong stems. So just be a little patient when it comes time to start growing them, because you want a good healthy plant that can hold those bell peppers. And on some of them you can see where we put in stakes. That's needed sometimes. You know, they're loaded down fairly heavy, and you know, we still get a good crop on them. It takes about a month longer before we start getting bell peppers, but I promise you it's well worth it. And we sometimes tend to overplant. The reason for that is, here in a moment I'll come across some bell peppers that have been chewed on, and it's really not waste. Nothing out here in produce really goes to waste. We can either give it to the turkeys, chickens, goats, or compost it, or we eat it. And so all we do whenever we see that a rat or a rabbit has chewed on it, we just chunk it over to the goats or the turkeys. Now, a lot of people don't think that chickens and turkeys can have peppers. It's fine. They can have too much, and so we're just careful as to how much we give them. And when you got as many turkeys and chickens and goats as we do, then there's plenty or enough to go around to everybody. Now this bell pepper patch, I put in 5 scratches, which was, I put 11 plants in each scratch. That gave us 55 plants, which is kind of small patch for us. Normally we do around 80 or 90 plants. And we always make sure that we try to overplant for the reason of pests or anything of that nature, that if we don't make sure we don't short ourselves, and to make sure that we always have extra to either share or feed the animals with. So the garden is a good way to get our animals more comfortable with us, to build trust. Not bad. Not bad at all. So we still have a couple of rows here that's not producing quite yet. And they'll be coming on though. A little slower. Just a little slower. All right. So we have, this makes the second one here. I think we have one more. You can see where something has been chewing on it. So I just chunk it over to give it to the turkeys. Let's go and see this. And they don't want them. But that's fine. The chickens will get out and get them. And as you see, they've had their fill, which is fine. We haven't let the chickens out yet, so they'll be sure to clean all that up. So we'll go ahead and head on back up to the garden. But before we do, we'll just pass by a few plants here. Here's some loofahs that are growing. And just below them, we have some lemon mint. Here's some horseradish. And the loofahs have gone crazy. They're getting around everywhere. We have some extra pepper plants here of cayenne, bell pepper, a couple of jalapenos. And this is a raised bed that we put in. Here, we'll be back here in a little bit. This is jalapenos. Now the peppers have seemed to like the raised bed. We had some purple hulls, red okra, and black-eyed peas behind those. Asparagus bed there in the south. These are some Kentucky pole beans. And then here's our lemon trees. This is our herb bed here. We had some zucchini there in the center, but bugs took them out, so we replaced them with a morning glory tree. And we'll just head on up here and find a home for these bell peppers. I gotta figure out a place to put these bell peppers. I think I'll just add another shelf right here. And but real quick, let's head on up and let these birds out. There's our rosemary, chamomile, oregano. Parsley is back around over there being overgrown. We've already started cutting sunflowers. Through here was where our beets were. Here on down through there. And after we pulled them, we just had empty space. So we just stuck these morning glory trees. We'll plant something else right here. There was some, this is the back side of the rooster pen here. Some sunflowers that we've already harvested. That's what's in the brown paper sacks up there on the porch. So I'll just set y'all right here and I'll go let these birds out real quick. Now we like to let our turkeys out first because the chickens will head off into their stalls and scratch around and clean up the food that they didn't get. The turkeys are more focused on getting out, but that's all right. So they're out about 1 or 2 hours before we let the chickens out, and we really only pen the chickens at night. Keep the owls raccoons, possums out of their space. This chicken coop was one of the first structures we built out here. There was some old framework of the people that lived here before us, and we just burnt everything that was on top of it and used the steel framework to build off there from the chickens. In this pen we have around 22 to 24 chickens and one rooster, which we'll be changing. Laying down some fresh water right here for them. And we keep several spots of water down. I moved some bird bath tops up here because they like to stand in it. Come noon, the sun will be blazing down on them, so they'll get up under it. We finally learned to raise the chicken coop. We were getting some large snakes in there, which we still do, but just not as bad. And it gives us a chance to lick up under it. Plus it gives the chickens a place to get out of the sun. We have 3 stalls of turkeys up here in the aviary. And it's bronze, Narragansett, and red bourbons. We have to get up about an hour before sunset to put everybody up, or they'll start going up into the trees, which would be fine, but they're not really accustomed to that. They're used to us putting them up, and which is no problem. It's just making sure to get up there. So I got the shelf put up. Here's the bell peppers. We're gonna get these put up real quick. Get them out of the basket. I had to go handle a goat. She got out, so. These goats, they don't seem to respect any fences. But that's fine. I got something for them. And that would be hot wire. We run about a cord on the bottom and a cord on top. And we use handles from bleach bottles and juice bottles. That just gives us an opportunity to reuse our waste. So we try to minimize what goes to the landfill or in the trash, anything of that nature. So we put up shelving on the porch, and that shelving are just boards, and we use string that come off of hay and straw. And that just helps us put some produce up on those shelves. We have to pick the tomatoes a little early when they start to blush, or the birds, chickens, rats and rabbits will get to them, and we don't want that. But we do overplant just in case that does happen, so that it doesn't put us in a bind. Oh, I took up one shelf. You can hang this basket back up. These are our bell peppers. I'm not sure how well this is coming in. It looks a little dark. So I was talking about the sunflowers a while ago. That's what we got here in the bags. The bags just help with moisture control and keeping the birds and mice away from the seeds. And so a portion of this produce will go to farmers market tomorrow, and we sure do appreciate you spending some time with us on this short garden tour.